Up first this evening, the government has announced an intention to spend $60 billion to help boost economic activity and get the sluggish economy back on track. The spending includes money to vaccinate up to 2 million people and improve Wi-Fi for schools. These are some of the highlights of the budget that was tabled in Parliament earlier today.
The budget tabled signals the government intends to spend $830 billion in the next fiscal year. The sum, while lower by $20 billion than the amount to be spent up to the end of March this year, is only down because the country will be spending less on a debt repayment in the next fiscal year.
The expenditure for recurrent activities and for capital activities is higher in the upcoming budget than in the current fiscal year, i.e. we are going to be spending more.
He said with the economy hit hard by the COVID pandemic, leading to 5 consecutive quarters of contraction and an expected fallout of almost 12% in GDP, recovering quickly is the focus. And the spending has been pivoted to do just that. The highlight, a $60 billion social and economic recovery and vaccine program for Jamaica, Serve Jamaica program. The bulk of the money for that program will come from the Bank of Jamaica, paying over a dividend to the government from its recent profits.
Under the Serve Jamaica program, funded by that one-off $33 billion from the Bank of Jamaica, we'll be making a special $10.5 billion allocation to the Ministry of Health. That will allow us to, and of that amount, $6 billion for vaccines. Now, based on the prices that the Ministry of Health has and the supply that they have so far identified, that would allow for 2 million Jamaicans to receive vaccines, which, based on the size of the Jamaican population, would allow us to achieve herd immunity in the next fiscal year.
That would work out at roughly 70% of the population getting the COVID-19 vaccine by this time next year, up from the 16% target that was originally set. With the money set aside, it's now for the Health Ministry to procure the vaccines and ensure it's administered. But vaccination is not the only highlight of the stimulus package.
The Serve Jamaica program will provide $31.1 billion for infrastructure, including $17.7 billion for the Southern Coast Highway, $8 billion for special infrastructure project that will widen roads, put in dual carriageways, put on sidewalks across Jamaica, $3.7 billion for secondary roads, $1.2 billion for the Montego Bay bypass, as well as $0.5 billion for the construction of new police divisional headquarters in Westmoreland.
Monies have also been set aside in the amount of $5 billion to help businesses affected by the pandemic. Another $1.5 billion is to go to farm roads, $1.8 billion for Wi-Fi in schools and communities, particularly in rural Jamaica, and an additional $8 billion for social spending, in addition to the almost $15 billion already set aside for PATH. The hope is that with all this spending, in addition to other budgetary items, the economy will start recovering first with a 5% growth in the next fiscal year, and then 6% the year after, to push us above the pre-COVID level and beyond. Dashan Hendricks, TVJ News.